It's funny to hear a female talk about routes. Like,
in relationship, me and Mignon.
What's up, sports freak?
Listen, I know sports better than most females.
Love. You know, what do you know about love? What do you possibly think you know about love?
Maury Lang Show with the Renegade Relationship. Let me shatter that myth real quick before you go on. Just because a woman likes sex all the time does not make her a freak.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Routes and Relationships, where I am, as always, the most beautiful girl that Maury Lang Show knows, Mia Mignon.
And I am the handsome Maury Lang Shaw.
You are indeed.
What's up, fam? What are you doing today?
Listening
What's on
to
top?
Routes and Relationships. That's what they're doing today.
Okay.
Alrighty.
What's on the first and second half of the show today?
First half of the show is Maury and Mia's top 5 sports beefs. He has 5, I have 5. Let's see if it's the same.
No, we're talking about sports beef, like people don't like each other.
Yes.
Don't respect each other.
Maybe.
Want to kill each other.
Maybe.
Want to slap them. So if they had a bat, they would take it to their knees.
Maybe. They just have to wait and see.
Okay. In the second half?
In the second half, we are talking about whether or not men expect or want or need to have their buttholes played with
The anal?
or licked during sex.
Wow. What did? Okay. When we come up, we got to tell how you came up with that one. That content right there.
Yeah.
We'll tell them on the second half.
All right.
But first up,
First
this first half of the show is brought to you by GreatTravelLife.com. GreatTravelLife.com is your travel site for providing a one-stop shop for all your travel needs that you need to hunt for your next luxury vacation for non-luxury prices. If you feel comfortable finding your own low-cost flights, booking your own discounted hotel suites, booking your own cruises anywhere in the world, rental car discounts, and even discounted shopping through Amazon, then head over to GreatTravelLife.com and start hunting for your next luxury vacation for non-luxury prices today at GreatTravelLife.com.
All right, for GreatTravelLife.com. So,
Top 5 sports beefs. How do you want to do this? You want to do your 5 and then I do my 5, or you want to do 5? You do one. You do your number 5. I do my number 5, and we go down to number 1.
yeah, let's do it that way.
All right. The ladder.
Yeah, starting with number 5.
Who's your number 5? What's your number 5 sports beef? Sports freak.
My number 5 sports beef is Bird and Magic. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
Bird and Magic like best friends.
Well, Magic has to make the list because he's Magic.
If you listen to you've listened to this podcast before, you know exactly why she says that.
Yes, Magic.
Magic
He's
always finds
Magic.
this way on the list.
But I like the fierce competition between the two. So, hey, they played some good basketball. They kept basketball alive. They were in the finals every year. They was, like I say all the time, nobody should get beat by 40 in the finals or leading up to the finals, and you rarely saw that between those two. So.
Right. But to me, that is more competition. Bird and Magic are credited with actually kind of saving the NBA. So I get it. Their sports competition is great. But to call it a beef, like beefing?
It's sports beef. They were only beefing when they were playing sports, but they were friends, and they sat around and said, how else can we come up with an idea for both of us to get rich? Let's act like we don't like each other. Yeah.
But that never came across.
No.
That never came across on screen or in commercials or outside of basketball.
Right. It only
See, that was one of the best sports competitions.
Well, I like that.
But I don't know about beef.
I like
but
that.
The irony behind yours is my number 5 is Dr. J and Bird, not Magic and Bird. Because anybody that ends up with their hands around somebody's neck, that's a beef.
That's a
And
beef.
you don't like that person.
Yeah. Like the Trail Freeway.
Oh my God, yeah. That should be, well, I don't have that on my list. Maybe honorable mention, Latrell Sprewell and PJ Carlissimo. That's a beef.
Well, PJ Carlissimo is probably beefing. The Trail Sprewell is probably okay because he did the choking, so.
That was assault, second-degree assault on that one. Who's your, done justifying the Magic Bird sports competition
the
and not
number one
beef?
justification for Magic and Bird being on here because it's Magic, and anything when you talk about sports, you have to talk about Magic. So anyway.
Moving on.
Yes.
Your number 4.
My number 4 is Ali Frazier.
Okay.
Ali Frazier.
Now that was a beef.
Yeah, that was a beef.
Why are they number 4 on your list? Man, that seems kind of low.
What did?
Oh, I'm kind of giving away my list. Because I do have Ali Frazier.
Ali Frazier because, going back to your point, they were beefing in the ring. And, of course, they were beefing outside of the ring.
Outside, right.
Yes.
This is legit beef.
Yeah, legit beef. You call me an Uncle Tom. I tell you I saved you because I gave you some money and you still continue to call me an Uncle Tom and make more money than me in each one of our fights and, you know, don't fight for me to at least get the same purse. But
he's bitter, too.
Yeah,
wow.
so,
see,
you know, that's a beef.
That had all the makings of a beef. Anybody that calls somebody ugly
and
an Uncle Tom and a gorilla, that's personal.
Yeah, and the beef goes down to Ali's daughter fighting Frazier's daughter because even they had a beef, you know. So
you think about that. Your beef is so intense that your children are fighting each other over your beef, and it causes their own beef. That's beef. That's why that's number 2 on my list.
That's number 2.
Ali Frazier is number 2. For even today, Frazier says what Ali said back in the day actually hurts his feelings. It hurt his feelings, and he carries that to this day.
I'm sure.
So that's serious beef. That was my number 2. So you're on number 3. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is, I have to go to my list. I believe my number 3 is football related. Let's see. It is not. My number 3 is.
Who's beefing football?
Oh, you'll be surprised. My number 3 is Shaquille O'Neal versus Kobe Baby Bryant.
Okay.
That's my number 3.
Mm-hmm.
For all the reasons everybody else likes the Kobe Shaq beef is the reason why I have them as number 3. Kobe was a big baby. Both of them wanted to shine together. Shaq felt like if it wasn't for him, Kobe would have won any rings. Kobe killed himself trying to win rings without Shaq. Shaq made the song about Kobe. It's just a big old mess.
Yeah, I read that earlier. Just like, what does my ass taste like?
Yes.
Something like that's the name of the song?
Yeah, something like that.
But it's funny because that is my number 1 sports beef of all time. When you're threatening to kill somebody, now that's beef. Like, and even Shaq talked about it in his book because the beef is Kobe calling Shaq fat and out of shape, and then Shaq going back and saying what you said, going with the song, and to the point the Lakers organization got sick of it. They called him in and said, hey, cut the shit out or we're going to start fining you. Shut up. So they both agreed, and the next thing Kobe does, he does an interview with Jim Gray of all people. Does an interview with Jim Gray and reiterates the whole thing and then talks about his sexual assault case in Colorado. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And apparently, Kobe was really upset that nobody came to his defense.
Should they?
And that's the thing. That's what they were saying. Shaq never spoke up for him. Byron Scott never spoke up for him. Brian Shaw never spoke up for him. Mm-hmm. So it got to the point where even Brian Shaw said, wait a second, Kobe. Why would we? Why would we say anything? Why would we come to your defense? I mean, we invited you to dinner parties, out, you never show up. You got married, you didn't invite any of us. Shaq got married, you never came. So no one's your friend. So why would we come to your defense? But Kobe's limited social thinking is he was hurt that nobody came to his defense.
Well, too bad. You shouldn't have been messing around with that little slut tramp anyway. So, hey, deal with it. So that's my number 3.
Yeah, that's my number 1, because that is legitly a sports beef. So who's your number 2 then?
My number 2 is Art Modell versus Cleveland, the whole entire city of Cleveland. That's my number 2. Art Modell picked his team up like a thief in the night and took his football team to low down, low class, blue collar heroin town of Baltimore.
Syphilis infested.
However, at the time it didn't seem like a smart move, but I think him moving the Cleveland Browns at that time, to Baltimore to become the Ravens. I think it saved Baltimore. I really did. But just how he did it, he didn't give any notice, anything like that. He just said, you know what, woke up in the middle of the night and said, you know what, pack this shit up, let's go. And took himself right on down there to himself. Lord have mercy. Took himself right over across 11 hours away to Baltimore.
Well, that sports beef didn't make my list. That was your number 3, you said?
That's my number 2.
That's number 2. I'm missing something.
You got a whole city mad at you.
I skipped a couple. That's your number 2.
That's my number 2, because you have a whole entire city mad at you.
Because my number 2 is Ali Frazier, and I said that.
Yeah.
So I didn't do my number 3.
Yes, what's your number 3?
Or number 4. I'm just chiming along
with
what you've been saying.
on my number 4, so let's go back to your number 4. What's your number 4?
Yeah, I'm confused. Because I kind of been, because your first 2 or 3 was on my list, but they were higher on my list.
Right,
so we started talking about that.
Because my number 4 was Ali Frazier, and you said mine was kind of high. That was your number 1, so what's your number 4?
Yeah, Ali Frazier is my number 2. My number 4 was Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook.
Oh, Lord have mercy. That's a girl.
What you talking about?
That's a girl fight. That's a bitter girl. Russell Westbrook is a bitter girlfriend, scorned girlfriend.
Fight, bitter. It sounds like a sports beef to me.
Bitter girlfriend.
It just comes down to like and respect. I don't think a lot of NBA players, not a lot, quite a few NBA players just don't respect Kevin Durant for what he did. You had a tandem that you took to Game 7 of the team you eventually joined. So who's to say the next year you add a couple pieces, the tandem of you and Westbrook, it could be the Golden State of Oklahoma City. So who knows? But Kevin Durant jumped ship to join the team that just defeated him, and I don't think NBA players actually respect that.
Well, too bad, because if you think about James Harden being there, and according to him, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, KD all felt like they were going to be together in it to win it for a long time. And Oklahoma City's front office has to take some responsibility for KD leaving, because first of all, they assured James Harden that, oh, you're a part of our future, and then when he woke up the next day, he was traded. He was gone. So
and that was a trade, right? It wasn't a free agent thing.
Right. So who knows what they were telling? It probably, to Kevin Durant, it probably felt reminiscent of what they did to James Harden. Oh, we got you, we got you, we got you, we got you. And he probably said, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. I'm out of here.
But we're saying that now because James Harden has become the player he is. When he was in Oklahoma City, he was coming off the bench for one. And he wasn't nearly the player he is today.
Right.
And when they even went to the finals, he stunk up the joint.
He did.
So who's to say? No one knew James Harden was going to be a top 3 NBA player when he was with Oklahoma City. So the trade, I get it. But looking back at who James Harden has become, knowing that Durant and Westbrook were all on the same team, you want to point fingers and blame the GM. But
my whole point was James Harden knew his role. He knew he was coming off the bench. He said he was going to be the best 6th man in the NBA. What I'm saying is, what they told him was probably the same thing they told Kevin Durant, because they're still friends, James Harden and Kevin Durant. And if they were talking, James Harden probably said, that's that same sugar honey iced tea they told me. Be careful. So it could have played a part in his decision. I don't know.
It could have. But either way, whether it played a part or not, that decision Durant made created the sports beef that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Between Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. They just, and I think it's more Westbrook than anything that he's like, I don't respect the dude. Fuck him. I just don't respect the dude. Where Kevin Durant realized that, they're like, this nigga really doesn't respect me. Now he's taking a role of, fuck you then. I don't give a shit. I joined and I won a championship. Hey, call me bandwagon, call me traitor, do what you want, but I got a ring, motherfucker.
Right, you want to watch it? I'll give you my second one because he's going to win it. Oh, no, wait, he does have a second one, doesn't he? No, he has one.
He has one. He'll get one in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, so he can let him wear it since he want to be a bitter girlfriend. Let him wear his ring, he'll feel much better.
Now, who was your number 3?
My number 3 was Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah, okay, that's when I went to, you started talking about Shaq and Kobe, and that was about number 1, and we went there. But my number 3 was Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan.
Oh my gosh, why did this happen?
Again, for me, that's a sports beef.
That is a sports
Whenever
beef.
you hire someone to break someone else's leg because you feel they're going to beat you, that is beef.
Do you know she is actually, and when I say she, I'm talking about Tonya Harding. There's a campaign to really, really clean her image up and have her out here looking like she is squeaky clean.
Tonya Harding, no, it won't work. That's what she's known for now. She's known for not even carrying out the act, but her thought process was, I'm going to hire somebody so it won't be me, but that person's going to break her leg, and then all of a sudden it gets back to me because the person who broke their leg squealed.
Yeah, that was her boyfriend, right? Her
Was
boyfriend
it?
did it, I think so. But she was on Celebrity Dancing with the Stars, sports figures or something like that. I think she was. Matter of fact, she
Nancy
was just
Kerrigan?
No.
Or Tonya Harding?
Well, Nancy Kerrigan was on there too, but Tonya Harding is on there. I think the same year as what's the boy that played for the Redskins, Josh Norman. I think she just did it this past season.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a part of her clean her image. That's a good one. That's a good one. I remember that. I was young enough to watch her sit there and cry and hold her knee and want to know why this happened, and Tonya Harding running down the street like she didn't know what happened.
Like, oh my gosh, what happened? Did somebody break their leg or something? Yeah, bitch. The person you hired to break the leg actually went through with it.
Yeah.
You act like you don't know.
You just hit her in the kneecap.
Alright, well, who's your number 2?
My number 2 was Art Modell taking the Cleveland Browns to the Baltimore. And
that didn't even show up on my honorable mentions.
Yes.
And my number 2 was Ali Frazier, as we talked about. And who's your number 1?
My number 1 is Donald Trump versus every NFL player with melanin and every NBA player with melanin. That is my number 1 sports beef.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Anytime you win a championship, for all the years that I've been watching every sport to watch and they won a championship, they were ecstatic about going to the White House and going to go see the president, and now nobody wants to go. You can't even buy a ticket you can't give them away.
It's funny because the history of this country, they've had Republican presidents.
Yes.
They've had Democratic presidents. They've had Republican thinking athletes. They've had Democratic thinking athletes. But the common thing is all these Democrat and Republican athletes, they went to see the Democrat or Republican president.
Yes, because it was a big deal.
Now.
Nobody wants to go. They even said beforehand, last night, LeBron and Steph was like, I don't care whether he invites us next. We're not going anyway. Nobody wants to go. Poor thing. Poor Donald Trump.
I would never say poor thing for Donald Trump.
He swear he is just, but he swear he's on the right side of it.
I'm telling you.
Well,
I'm telling you.
Jerry Jones going to be the one that sail his ass up the river because, that's a whole different story. But my first number 1 all-time sports beef is Donald Trump versus the sports universe.
That's actually a good one.
Yes.
We already talked about my number 1, which is Kobe Shaq.
Kobe Shaq. Well, Kobe Shaq plays right into part 2 of the show. How my ass tastes, Kobe.
Woo-wee. For the second half of the show?
The second half of the show.
What are we talking about again?
This is for all for you, relationship guy. This is how, you know how you gave a rundown of, in sticking with your how to give good head and all this other stuff. So I need you to educate the women on what else they need to do. And you've mentioned what the gooch area before. Now you have to go past it. Gooch area.
Talk about the gooch area.
And explain to the women who have men that may or may not like to dabble in a little anal play during sex.
Anal play?
Like how many men do you think would appreciate like fingers in their butt or girl dick in their butt?
Well, those are 2 completely different sex acts.
Well,
but
in this list.
How did you can you share how you came up with this topic outside of the polling?
Okay.
Outside of the polling.
Yeah, because this was, thank you, Rousing Relationships fans, this was on you, that you picked this. But I gave it as an option because I was watching reruns of Sex and the City, not the movie, the series. And Miranda, if you remember, was sleeping with Marathon Man. And Marathon Man, yes, Marathon Man, had, they were doing whatever they were doing, and he pulled her pants down, and he proceeded to give her anal licking. So she discussed it with her girlfriends at the diner, like they always did, and she wanted to know whether or not she was supposed to return the favor.
So he was licking her ass.
Right, but when they had sex again, and she was giving him, like he was laying on his stomach, and she was giving him a back massage, and like rubbing his back or whatever, and then he started perching his butt up in the air, like near her face. So when he started perching his butt up in the air, and she was rubbing his back, she just blurted out, no, I'm not comfortable with this, and so that's where I got it from. I was like, I wonder how many men actually want to perch their butt up in the air when they having sex with their lady. So you gotta give it.
He hit her with the perch move.
Yeah, he never said. I always do it to you. I want you to, give it back to me. He just perched his butt up.
But what other guys are celebrities are into this? Did you?
Yes, I did. Gabrielle Union says that Dwayne Wayne likes it. Amber Rose said that Kanye liked fingers in his butt. Charlamagne the God admitted that he likes to have his butt licked. And Chris Pine is another one, allegedly. But, maybe that could have just been a bitter ex-girlfriend putting his business out. But it's quite a few. It's quite a few guys.
And I think it's more common than not. Many men won't admit it, but what they do behind closed doors is what they do behind closed doors. That's why the term DL is a real thing, or down low is a real thing, because a lot of men are not going to admit having sex with other men because they like women.
Well, no, the women, they want women to lick their butt.
Right, but what my point is, a lot of men won't admit to having their asshole, anal, played with or poked or stuck in, because of the stereotype or the image that portrays.
Got it.
Just like when men have sex with men, but they out in front in public with women, they're not going to admit they're down low. So the same thing goes here.
No, they're just gay.
Yeah, that is gay. And the perception of the asshole being poked is gay as well. But here's my take. What you do behind closed doors is what you do behind closed doors. Having said that, however, any type of penetration in a man's ass, in his asshole, has homosexual tendencies.
I don't know if he has homosexual tendencies.
I'm telling you. I'm not asking. I'm telling you, if a man is willing to take a finger, a cucumber, a pole, a tongue, a vibrator,
so wait,
inside his ass, then he has homosexual tendencies. Now the licking and the playing, that is, for lack of a better word, okay.
Okay.
Because it's like kissing. A tongue or lips passing over any part of the body is fine. It feels good. However, there's some rules to having your asshole licked.
Okay.
There's some rules. And this is advice for men.
Okay.
The first part is, if anything is going into your asshole, you have homosexual tendencies. Not calling you gay, but you have homosexual tendencies. So there's the rule number one: if you're heterosexual, no insertion goes into the asshole.
Okay.
Now here's the advice part. If you're into the licking of the ass, which is mainly more for women giving, because I think it's more of a turn on that women are being this freaky for their man, more than it feels good to the man. And because a woman is being that freaky, it's just the idea of her doing that, carrying it out, executing that, is the turn on more for the man. the feeling is it's okay. It doesn't hurt. It's cool. But the fact that he sees women being that freaky is a turn on.
Okay.
Back to the rules now, to the rules for the man. Mm-hmm. Men, if you're on your stomach and it feels convenient for her to go into the ass that way, there's no perching. You cannot perch your ass up in the air like what you said in Sex and the City. There's no perch. Like you can't perch. There's no perching.
Like you push her back.
That is a homosexual act that you're perching. You're popping your ass up in the air so she can have easier access to your asshole. Don't do that. That is against man law for getting your ass lit. Second, if you're on your back, in no way, shape, or form should your legs go up into the air.
Well, Charlamagne says that he lays on his stomach sometimes, but he likes to lay on his back and his hands up and his legs up. So he wants him to be
you have homosexual tendencies if you're on your back and you put your legs into the air like a woman is in missionary position. You're fucking her. You do that. You have homosexual tendencies, and you're breaking man law number 2.
Okay.
Do not do that.
No perching and no legs up and stirrups.
Right.
Okay.
And in no position should your legs ever be up in the air.
So where should your legs be?
At any point. Here is how it works. If a woman wants to do this to you, and you're willing to let her do that, and again, nothing wrong with that. If you're on your stomach, you have to open your legs as wide as you can. Feet and legs firmly on the surface you're laying on. If you're on the ground, your knees, your hips, your ankles, your toes are touching something.
Why are you holding your hands like the police
Because
told you to get out?
The YouTube or Patreon people see what I'm doing. It's like you're spread eagle with your legs, but at no point do your hips leave the surface that you're touching. Your thighs, your quads, your knees, your ankles, your toes do not leave the surface that you're touching. She has to maneuver to get in there.
Oh, so
if you're on your stomach. Yes.
Okay.
Shouldn't be that difficult in that position.
Okay.
If you're on your back, if you're laying on your back, there's no way she's going to be comfortable to get under there. So there has to be something, you really, as a man, you can't have your asshole laying on your back. But if you want to lay on your back, you have to be on the edge of the bed with your feet firmly on the ground.
No lifting?
No lifting of any sort. There's no sexual, matter of fact, this goes beyond lifting of the ass. There's no sexual position where a man lifts his legs up in the air.
No.
Unless you're a homosexual or you have homosexual tendencies, which mean you're open to other things, which is why the poking, the insertion of a finger could feel good to you.
Or 2 fingers.
Or two fingers. We're getting ridiculous. A man's asshole is meant for exit only, no entry.
Okay. Is there rule number 3?
So, no, because it's all encompassing, whether you're laying on your stomach, laying on your back. The rules are the do's and the don'ts. You cannot lift your legs up if you're laying on your back. Just to recap, you can't lift your legs up. You have homosexual tendencies if you do that. Your legs have to be firmly on the ground. And if you're on your back, of course, just physiologically, you can't get to the asshole if a man's laying on his back and his feet are on the bed. So therefore, if you want to lay on your back, you got to go to the edge of the bed, feet firmly on the ground, and she has to get up under there and do her thing.
Okay.
It's going to take some serious effort on the woman's part to do that, which is why laying on your stomach is probably easier and probably the most uncomfortable feeling for the man. But if the you guys are open to that and she wants to do that, then lay on your stomach with you laying out and opening up is the easiest way for her to do that. Okay. I'm telling you, it's going to feel uncomfortable until you do it quite a few times. And again, the whole purpose, and I'm telling you as a heterosexual man, that the thought and the execution of a woman doing that is the bigger turn on than the actual feeling. To show that you have that level of freak in you is the turn on. The feeling that you get is kind of the cherry on top. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So there you have it, guys. Your feet never leave the goddamn ground. Ever. And there's no insertion. If she's licking it and stroking it with her fingers, and then she tries to poke it, I'm telling you, here's how you can tell if your man has homosexual tendencies. If you do this and you put your finger into his asshole and you don't come up with a black eye, then your man has homosexual tendencies. Because I'm telling you, if anything goes into my asshole, something's getting stolen in the face hard. And then I just have to apologize later. So that's what I have for guys. The do's and don'ts of...
Basically, do the men expect it, though? Do you think that they really expect it?
I don't think it's an expectation because, again, I think it's more of the freak side of the woman that wants to do this. It's not. I don't think it's an expectation of the man. But once the woman shows that she wants to do this, she has a desire to do this for her man. That is just it's a bigger turn on than the actual act. So it's more on the woman that had the desire than the man's expectation. But after a while, if it feels good and you kind of like it and you're both into it, it could become an expectation. Just like oral sex. Like oral sex is not only an expectation, but it's mandatory.
It's mandatory?
Yeah, absolutely. That's mandatory. That goes beyond the expectation. So it's the level of...
I never knew it was mandatory, though.
Absolutely. There's no... What did you say a couple podcasts ago?
Sex.
Yeah, we're talking about when we had the topic of...
Watching porn?
No, tweaking the sex.
Tweaking the sex.
Yeah, and you brought the example of what you weren't going to do. Which was kind of... We would change this... You were kind of not... That wasn't the question that we were asking.
Right.
But you said what you're not going to do. You're like, I'm not doing it. And the dude told you, like, I'll be damned if you're going to go... I'm in a relationship with you, not sucking my dick. Well, so... That oral sex, that's mandatory nowadays. Mm-hmm. You're in a heterosexual relationship, that's mandatory. If you're in any type of sexual relationship, that's mandatory. Oral sex is mandatory. It goes beyond an expectation. Mm-hmm. So expectation is having sex 4 times a week. That's what I expect. You know what I mean? I'm really speaking for you because you harp on that more than I do.
What?
The amount of sex that you expect.
Yeah, of course.
That you're comfortable with.
Yeah, you're supposed to have sex a lot. Like twice a month is horrible.
Yeah, you need to go to the doctor. Go see a therapist. Something's not right in your relationship.
Yeah, if you gotta have sex twice a month, that's ridiculous.
Alright. Then we have the anal licking segment. Thanks Dwayne Wade, Gravel Union, Kanye West, Amber Rose.
It was 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson.
Curtis Jackson.
Well, he said it was an experience. I don't know if he would do it again. He just said that it happened to him and that was an experience. Yeah, I don't know if he wants to do that again.
Yeah, I definitely understand it. I can definitely understand it.
Yes.
That's why I keep on harping. It's more the woman's desire than the man's expectation. Because I think that women want to show their freak side, and for a woman, I think it's a fine line between freak side and nasty and disgusting, and it's a really fine line where they don't want to cross. But in reality of it is, it's not all that of a fine line. It's just a sexual act. If you put your tongue in somebody's mouth, if you put your tongue on somebody's penis, hey, we're not talking about, hey, go take a shit and then come out and let me lick your asshole. That's not how it happens. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is like having anal sex. It's like a man and a woman having anal sex. I don't want to do it when you have to take a shit, because I'm going to feel that your shit is right there.
Well, what's the name on Zach and Maroney? And I think that's how you pronounce it. Make a porn. The girl had anal sex in porn because she was constipated. She warned him. She said, I've been constipated all day, so this anal sex scene will probably be great for me. And if you saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I didn't see the movie, but that seems so would seem so uncomfortable. If I gotta take a shit, I don't want anything near my ass. That's not how women think.
Well, for her, I guess it helped her go to the bathroom. She's been constipated, so I guess she felt like it was going to loosen it up so she can go to the bathroom. See the movie, and then you'll know what I'm talking about.
I guess that makes sense.
Well, we've talked about asses, and the huge ass of Donald Trump. So on that note, we are out of here.
Peace.